Children are not teens. Teens are not adults. There are different challenges in terms of biology, anatomy, physiology. We do the hard sciences in terms of sex and kids and what's best for them. And right now, children and teens and sex is a toxic combination.
When childhood is forgotten, innocence is the first casualty. And in a culture obsessed with early exposure to sex, few are asking, what is this going to do to our kids? Well, Dr. Lisa Nolland has spent decades studying how culture shapes young minds, and the line between education and exploitation is thinner than most parents realize.
Children doing sex are far more dangerous and far more risky because their brains are not developed, their sex organs are not developed. See, nothing is developed, so you are prematurely forcing them into maturity.
Welcome to the Love Questions podcast, where faith meets culture, questions spark conversation, and the truth is spoken with love. I'm PJ Bedwell, and today we're talking about what it really means to protect the next generation. Welcome to the Love Questions podcast. I'm PJ, and I'm here with Lisa Nolland, who is the chair, the boss, the big kahuna of Marriage, Sex and Culture
Group, London.
Despite the accent, you're from London.
That's all right.
Okay, well, tell us about Marriage, Sex and Culture. What do you guys do? What brought you into that kind of ministry or area of work?
Okay, so we track sex culture, what youngsters are being taught, what is mainstream out there in culture. We expose the bad, but also we promote the good. What we're very concerned about is youngsters being shortchanged or told things that actually are only partially true or not true at all. So we want the best for kids, and we believe sexual activity for them is hugely damaging. And actually the research does indicate this.
Okay. So you've got a couple of masters and you went into this, is that right?
I have a couple masters and one PhD.
Okay. So you've come from academia.
Yes.
And really it's in the vague realm of public health, I suppose.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you study?
Did one master's at Regent College, Vancouver, one master's at Trinity College, Bristol, and then my PhD at the University of Bristol.
Okay. Terrific. Yeah. Oh, well done on all that.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, we're in this world a little bit, we're thinking through, but maybe for this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But maybe for someone who's watching and they're like, okay, so what's the big deal? Sexual education for kids, you're trying to do sex ed?
Yeah.
Aren't you already doing that?
Yeah.
Could you maybe flesh that out a little bit? Why are you concerned?
Yes.
And what should we maybe be concerned about? What should we be aware of that maybe we're not?
Yeah, okay, fine. Well, so perhaps one of the first main things is children are not teens. Teens are not adults. There are different challenges in terms of biology, anatomy, physiology. We do the hard sciences in terms of sex and kids and what's best for them. And right now, children and teens and sex is a toxic combination. So right now, smart kids in the UK know smoking is perhaps not a very good idea because they don't want their lungs to end up looking like that. Same with sex, except in the UK, it's a slower sell. It's gone much better in the US. You have a far bigger, no, we're not that stupid. We don't want that because we know that will harm us. We have better things to do with our time right now.
Okay, so let me finesse this out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're making an evidence-based case towards young people, and smart ones are picking up, and you're making the case from data.
Yeah.
Sex for children is not a good idea. Is that how I could summarize it? And there's reasons why. This isn't just a religious statement.
Oh, no.
But there are other reasons why sex, advertising or promoting or encouraging sex for children is not good. I mean, it's innately obvious, I think, but I've got maybe a Judeo-Christian worldview. Tell me why it's bad for children.
Okay, because sex... adults looking at doing sex, whatever, there are huge downsides, but children doing sex are far more dangerous and far more risky because their brains are not developed, their sex organs are not developed. See, nothing is developed, so you are prematurely forcing them into maturity. So in terms of costs, they pay. So some kids pay now and later, some kids only pay later. But my view is just like with smoking, it comes with the cost.
Okay, what are some of the costs that it's costing young people who are, I suppose, manipulated, if you could say?
Yes.
I mean, then do they have even informed consent to say no? Do they have the capacity to refuse? So they're dragged into this by adults. What are the downstream? We'll talk about why that happens later in Kinsey and other things.
Yeah.
But what are the effects? What harms are being caused?
Okay, may I read you? Okay, this is from research-based. So that's what we do, is research-based. Okay, so kids who are sexually active, they are more likely to have these negative life outcomes. They're more likely to experience STIs. There are 30 now. There used to be 2.
Sexually transmitted diseases increased.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. More concurrent or lifetime partners. See, what happens is their brain gets used to the idea, oh, fine, sex now is a good idea. And so they morph their brain, or their brain is predisposed to think, instead of one sexual partner, it's like, well, I can go from da to da to da. And literally it starts putting that framework into the brain. That's crazy.
Well,
I mean,
I just saw a study published about the discovery of polyamory.
Oh, so stupid.
So an identification on the alphabet, presumably on the rainbow alphabet, an identification being polyamorous.
Yeah.
So I identify as a person who has multiple sexual partners or open relationships in children.
Yes.
This isn't some dystopian fantasy. This is present research published in psychiatric journals or psychological journals.
That is pure madness, because what they are doing is, because their brain, again, children, teens, adults, their brains are not even adult brains. You are creating a pattern that you will find natural to go from this person to this person to that person. Youngsters don't know this. So I will keep going with my list, if I may.
Yeah.
More likely to experience pregnancy, lower educational attainment, increased sexual abuse and victimization, decreased general physical and psychological help, more likely to divorce. See, because what's happened is you've programmed in an adult polyamorous, as it were, framework of sex. So instead of you grow up and then you decide this, or that, it's like you're literally pre-programmed to think this is normal and good and natural. So, and more likely, and huge other downsides, the kids don't know anything about.
Yeah. So it makes sense. So I'm one day, I watch the romantic things. I'm one day dreaming of a monogamous,
Beautiful.
lifelong marriage, the Prince Charming and the wedding day and all that. But I get coaxed out of that, which is actually innate. I watch my 4-year-old daughter. We get married. She wants to get married to daddy. She's dreaming of that one day of a husband at 4, you know. Of course. And it's a dream in her heart. But we come in, and sex ed influences young folks to think, well, they're just multiple partners is fine. Yes. As long as you use a condom, like everything else is fine.
Oh dear. Now the condoms, okay, that in itself is a whole disaster zone. So about 85 to 87%, if they're used correctly. Okay, so we might not get pregnant, fine. The other, well, sorry, it didn't work. But there are many STIs and STDs that the condom doesn't cover. Youngsters are not told this. With syphilis, with there are a couple others, the condom doesn't cover it. So it's like, oh dear, you still got the disease even though you used the condoms perfectly. But finally, see, what's happening in your brain is you're getting used to, again, you go from this person to this person to that person. And that can be really hard. That can be addictive.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, Lisa, as I look at it, I'm not happy about the negative health outcomes for anyone who's coaxed into sex. But for me, there's something else going on here. I'm just mad. Yeah. Why are adults luring and grooming children into sexual activity? Why is that not just not prosecuted? Yes. But why is it? It's the opposite, right? This is taxpayer funded. This is deployed by government. This is a stated aim, not only of research, but of public policy. Yep. We desire to sexualize children. Yes. It's not hidden. It's like that's the goal. Yes. How did we get here? What happened? Okay,
sadly, we got here. There are many factors, but one of the main ones is Alfred Kinsey. Alfred Kinsey is, quote unquote, the father of the sexual revolution. Kinsey, now I will agree with Kinsey on one thing. He thought sex was fab. He loved orgasms. Yes, God says sex is fab.
Yeah, God
he loves orgasms.
Song of Songs, right?
Song of Songs. That's right. That's right. Genesis 1. But sadly, so for Kinsey, he was bent on a revolution, and that's what he did. He was out to pansexualize everything. So everything, every encounter, you and me, you and anyone else. Basically, he was, whatever you want to have sex with, that's a good thing, whether it's animals, your parents, siblings, multiple partners. Kink, that was a big thing as part of, in terms of inflicting pain while you're having sex. That's a whole orientation. It's crazy, but our kids, that's the direction a lot of this is heading.
Okay, so Alfred Kinsey, because I know a little bit, not as much as you know, I think. So Kinsey was a pedophile. So his research, sorry that this is graphic, like trigger warning, his research was conducted through like orgasm experiments on children. I thought it was as young as 11, but you're telling me it was down to...
Oh, no, babies. I believe it was table 32. Judith Reisman, Reisman, she spent her life exposing. So she lived in Kinsey's, all of his reports, etc. Oh, yes, he worked with a whole range of pedophiles who would masturbate, supposedly children, to orgasm, supposedly, to prove, supposedly, that children were sexual beings from birth. That was his. And one little boy, according to table something 32, I think, no, 28, table 28, this little one was, over a period of 24 hours, gentleman X, who was his pedophile partner, masturbated him 24 hours, and supposedly this little boy had 26 orgasms. Yeah. So 20 nonstop sexual molestation. And of course, all these experiments have never been repeated because they were totally unethical. It would be like asking the rapists who rape women and to get the research on female sexuality from your rapist. It's like, stop, no. And all sorts of other things. There were so many internal contradictions. The children would scream, and so this also connects up. Sorry, but your young audience needs to know. Kinsey was into kink. Kink is now being sold as little bits of naughty fun. No, kink is when you get sexual pleasure from being bitten, whipped, needles in the clitoris, etc., etc. It's literally you experience huge pain at times while you're masturbating or having sexual encounters. So Kinsey and his official biography goes into this. He would insert increasingly larger, hard objects like toothbrushes up his penis while he's masturbating, and then he was filmed, again, from the chest down. That was part of his research. And he warned kink folk. He said, you can actually get to an area, a place where you seriously damage yourself. See, because the endorphins are kicking in. And that's what people who are into kink, they like that kick. See, it's a huge high. But then it's like, whoops, I'm bleeding after sex because I've just permanently damaged myself.
So I'm...
I know, sorry.
Appalled and just all of the things, all of the feelings about this, but the normal, reasonable person would think, let's make sure that this guy is prosecuted.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a healthy response to that.
Yeah.
But instead, some of his research underpins World Health Organization protocols.
Oh, yeah.
Which have been endorsed by governments, tertiary institutions, universities. So this guy wasn't outed as a pedophile.
Oh, no.
He was celebrated as the father of the sexual revolution.
Yes, that's right.
And I mean, this sounds like it's dystopian fantasy, but this is actually, this is the truth.
Yeah.
And then his data isn't discredited.
Oh, no.
But it is used to underpin comprehensive sexual education.
Correct.
Which is...
everywhere. Yeah.
Which is the main instrument for deploying sex ed from tertiary level, high school, primary school.
Yeah.
you could maybe tell me if this is right. I heard that this underpins curricula in childcare facilities. It goes down to CSE has its fangs even into, daycare.
Okay, I've heard some daycares have some of this content in it. I can't say in terms of CSE, and also I think it would vary in terms of country.
Okay.
Now, he's not Kinsey. We don't know for sure that he was a pedophile. We do know he worked actively with a network of pedophiles. What we also know is he was actively bi, mostly homo, had many, we don't know even how many.
Well, sorry, but if someone is designing and implementing orgasm experience on children, I'm calling you a pedophile.
Fine. It sounds good. Yeah. Oh, yes. He was totally endorsing this because he thought it was proving his theory that children are sexual beings from birth. So whatever you need to do, so if you just rape them left, right, and center, well, you know.
I mean, this is probably a side note, but is this supported by Freudian psychology? Like, I mean, was Freud the sort of precursor to this in sort of describing us as innately sexual as a defining characteristic?
Okay. Or? I think the Judith Reisman, who knows more about Kinsey and Freud, said that actually Freud used to be against the child sexuality model. He backed away a bit from it. But basically, Kinsey came up with this and his team, and then the mainstream media just kept running with it, like pansexuality is liberation for all. That has continued to be repeated over and again.
Okay. Yeah. So where does CSE, what are the limits to the reach of CSE now? So we can and people watching can get a broader picture of how far reaching comprehensive sex ed is, and should a parent be concerned about it? Should they be aware about it? Where does it go?
Okay. So I think it also depends on which country you're in. Certainly in the West, depending on the school. So, for instance, I can speak definitely about, let's say, the UK. There are a few schools, whether they're secular or Christian or church or whatever, that might be okay. But you don't know. But then there are others. In fact, some of the worst offenders, I'm sorry to say, are the C of E and Roman Catholic schools, because they've bought into the whole, we need to be loving, kind, this content is helping children. See, it all depends on who creates the narrative that then is bought by the headmistress. Yes, we want the best for our children. And I would agree, we definitely want the best for our children. But this is not the best. And that's, I guess, what I'm so concerned about. We want all kids to fly. But if they start exploring their orifices, their openings now, that is a surefire way they will not fly. It's the damage. But so we expose the bad, my group, but also we promote the good. What do kids need to know? They need to know good stuff about their bodies.
So, I mean, that's so important. When no one is saying education is bad.
No.
We're talking about age and stage appropriate.
Yes.
We're talking about, I mean, this is the classic thing, consent training in Australia. Public school funded, private schools, it's compulsory. Consent training means sometimes, when it's done poorly, someone gets in and says, here's what consent would look like. Yeah. And then says, and here's the scenarios where consent could be applied.
Yes.
And they list off polyamorous relationships, every kind. I've heard media have reported up to and including bestiality references.
Zoophilia, zoos. They're one of the many sexualities coming out now.
So now so under the guise of training people in consent, we're introducing them to despicable.
Yes. High risk, dangerous, damaging, and see the thing about.
I'm not content to settle on it's bad for you physically. I'm like, this is ethically and morally repugnant
and criminal.
Yeah, but I appreciate what you're saying. It's also bad for the individual.
Yes. Oh, horribly. But it is criminal, and I guess for me, the $60 million question is, where are those who know it's bad, who refuse to say? It's like Bonhoeffer talking about Hitler in the 30s, like, wake up, this man is not a man of peace. When are you going to wake up? No, things are fine. So I think, and particularly because it's targeting kids, for me, and particularly it's the last, the lost, the losers, the ones with no friends.
Autism spectrum.
It's just horrific. They need all the best help they can get, and instead they're being thrown this.
Yeah, protecting the innocence of children is absolutely vital. Education's crucial. We all did like sex ed to some extent. We learned what our bodies did. Great, perfect. Number one, I'll make the point. Parents should be the driver of this,
parents,
not the state.
Yes.
Like otherwise we are cultural Marxists. We're saying, we need the state endorsed official to teach our kids about sex because I'm not equipped. Also, parents have got to step up. We have to take responsibility for that. Christian parents especially.
Yeah.
The Bible's filled with information about sex. It's good we're not helpless and we got good resources.
Yeah.
But secondly, what on earth does a child need to know at 13 about sex for? What on earth, when the age of consent is 16 in most Western countries?
Yeah.
Why this book, Welcome to Sex, we were looking at it earlier, Australian authors, yay Australia, I'm ashamed to say. And our Prime Minister shortlists it for a book award, Welcome to Sex, with some of the most explicit. I'm blushing. I'm a 40-year-old man and I lived in the world before I got born again. Yeah. And I'm like, what are we looking at? Yeah. And that, what's the target age for Welcome to Sex in your nation?
In fact, it's now come to the UK, a great whatever. Now, there was one conservative radio station that pushed back, but yes, it's horrific. Okay, 8 years, according to one of the authors, a mature 8-year-old could handle it, but it's basically targeting 10s to 15s, and the brain immaturity, their body immaturity. This is pure propaganda. This is criminal. This is criminal.
Oh, it's beyond propaganda. It's grooming.
Sorry.
It's grooming.
Yes, it's grooming.
This is state-sanctioned, state-funded child grooming en masse. Yeah. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah. Pedophile heaven. It's like they go, yes, because children are quote, sexual beings, and fine if you want to have sex with this or that. Hey, it's your choice.
Yeah, you're just a prudish religious type. No, this has got to stop. This is despicable. Yes. I don't think you need to be religious to recognize that showing this stuff to a 10-year-old is a disgrace. Sorry, I'm really fired up about this because it's absolutely disgusting. Yes. Worse than that, we're paying for it.
Tax paying. Yeah, I know. Funding.
Yeah, and you're right. Where is the accountability? But, I mean, there's a role for us in the church, us Christians, to point this out. If anyone wants to make the argument, don't get political, just preach the gospel, blah, blah, blah. What on earth would Jesus do? What on earth would Paul do? What would Bonhoeffer do? What would Tozer do?
Yeah, I know.
What would Lewis do?
I know.
When you see this coming against the most vulnerable, our children,
yes, that's right.
It is time to say something, stand up, fight to stop this despicable nonsense.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
It's not to put too fine a point on it.
No, that's right. It is criminal because it is hooking those who don't even realize this is happening. So that's I think really important. These children and teens are not mini adults, but yet they're being treated as that. And also, it's always follow the money. There's huge amounts of money, funds to be made in all sorts of ways through getting kids sexually active. And see, what needs to happen, in my view, is a youngster who has taken that advice to turn around in a few years and sue the people who gave them that bad advice. Like, you told me this was safe. This isn't remotely safe. Yeah. You tacitly encouraged me to explore my sexuality. That was either complete idiocy or else criminal.
Yeah.
I'm paying for what you told me was safe.
Yeah.
And
we need class actions, but the damage is done by then.
I know.
What are the big drivers? What are the financial drivers? We've talked about the potential motivation that someone wants to get. I don't want to talk about it. James Parker said this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people want it's grooming.
Oh, totally.
Pedophiles want sexually active kids. Sorry to say it, that's the truth. Pedophiles would love a sexually active population in their childhood. But what are the other drivers? Who else is profiting?
Big pharma, huge. So the condom makers, the antibiotics. So you get sexually active. We used to have 2. Now we have over 30. So then we need all the medicines to treat all the diseases and infections that come along with sexual whatever. The mainstream, the media, in terms of the big business, the corporate promotion of this. And I think there are some useful idiots who actually do think this is good for kids. And I'm going, I don't know what planet you're on.
Yeah, you would need to spend a lot of time at university to be that dumb.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're not going to convince a practical tradie or someone else that sexualizing a 10-year-old is a great idea. Only someone who's just read enough of Kinsey or some other thing, some neo-Marxist propaganda, is going to fall for that.
Yeah.
But no one with anyway. Let's not end on a negative.
No. So positive. What can you do?
What can parents do?
Yes.
If I'm a parent, I've got children, I'm like, okay, what do we do now that I know this? Practical things.
First of all, I think it's really important for parents to step back and say, what kind of role model am I giving my child? Because so many parents, they're working both working full time. They're just trying, the kids are fine, they hope. And to be honest, they're too busy to even focus like, well, are the kids fine? And how would I know if they weren't fine? They're always on their phones. Parents are, in my view, far too naive. Like the deal is often the kids aren't fine and the parents don't want to know because then that means hassle, etc. Right. So parents need to step back and say, we might have to lower our standard of living so that one of us can be around far more to be tracking these kids because the kids are not automatically fine. That's number one.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to go into this because it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to trace the effects, one of the downstream effects of the sexual revolution and feminism is
both
kids are no longer discipled.
No.
Once it was 50% of the couple to becoming one was engaged in the active discipleship of their children. Now it's like both give maybe 10%.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I know. So parents looking at their own stuff, how are their kids experiencing them? I think that's important. But also, parents, you need to, if you do send your kids to state education, you need to know what they're being taught and say, I want to see every single lesson plan. I want to see every single thing you're telling my child. In some ways, the parents have got to step up to saying, well, I'm the parent. The state isn't the parent. Yeah. My child is my responsibility. I love my child way more than the state ever will. Yeah. And also, this could really damage my child. I don't want that for my child. I want the best for my child. That's number two.
I'm afraid to just dive in and say, I mean, communism lost, the Iron Curtain fell down, but then all of a sudden we're cultural communists anyway, because with cost of living and too busy parents, the state ends up raising the kids anyway.
Our kids in daycare, So then number three, it's where's the church? So if people are involved in a church or in a Christian network or whatever, you go through a pain barrier. No one wants to talk about this for all sorts of reasons, but it's like you've got to go through this pain barrier anyway for your kids and grandkids. What are our kids being taught? Of course, porn, we talked about that before. That's a whole other realm, but that's a huge
check
grooming.
In, assume that they could be exposed to it, even if they're a friend, have conversations, build trust. Yeah.
And you keep tracking. See, that's the deal with parents. It's 24/7 until, well, in some ways, you're always their child. You're always the mother. You're always the father. Yeah. And in some ways, you talked about cultural Marxism downgrading the family, but also downgrading motherhood and fatherhood. Yeah. It's like we need to regain, hey, I'm the mother. You're my child. I'll be with you when you're 30, when you're 50, whatever. You're my responsibility, and I can't just palm you off on. And also, I don't want to, because I see, in some ways, I'm connecting with the next generation through you. You know, I will die at some point, and you will be perhaps a little bit of me going into the future. Like the bigger idea of family and intergenerational heritage and the bigger picture, not just individuals, and it's about me now. So I think that's also important. But finally, where are the parachurch organizations that claim to be looking out onto the broad spectrum? Where are they? Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway. And there should be far more. Yeah. See, there should be far more saying, hold on, we need to stop. We need to go back and look at this. Instead, we like PC, feel good projects, I understand, but it's not good enough, in my view, in terms of kids.
It's messy, gritty, no one wants to do it. This is the interview I wish I didn't have to do. I didn't want to go into ministry helping young people with porn. I don't want to go into LGBT, but I'm compelled because the innocence of children and a whole generation is at stake.
Exactly.
It's messy, it's ugly,
yes,
and it's crucial. And we've got to die to ourselves and just do it.
Yes, totally. Because it's our kids. It's about our kids.
Lisa, I'm fired up. Thank you for your knowledge, information. I'm so glad to have connected. Thanks for coming on and talking.
Thank you.
We'll pop a whole bunch of your resources in the text below.
Super.
God bless you.
And you, sir. Thank you.